Welcome back, English learners. My name is Marco, and I am joined by
Erica.
How are you, Erica?
I'm doing great, Marco, and you?
Excellent. I'm doing really well, and I'm really excited about our lesson for today.
That's right. We've got an intermediate lesson today, and we're going to study some real English.
English that you use every day, right?
That's right. English that native speakers really use.
Exactly. And today, as Erica mentioned, we have an intermediate lesson. And not only is it intermediate, but it's a business lesson.
Yes. So today we're listening in to a sales meeting, and we're going to learn some great, useful English to talk about sales strategies. So we're going to learn English for sales strategies, for making suggestions, and for responding to suggestions.
Great. So why don't we take a look at our vocabulary preview for today?
Vocabulary preview.
So our vocabulary preview is a part of our lesson when we teach you some really important words that will help you to understand the dialogue better.
Okay, great. So that is what vocabulary preview is. We have 2 words for you today, and we can start off by looking at the first one.
Our first word today is drive sales.
Drive sales.
Drive sales.
To drive sales, and that means?
To increase sales.
Right, to sell more.
Exactly. So to drive sales.
Okay, so now let's look at our second word, and it's an interesting one. It's promotion.
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 So Erica, what is a promotion exactly?
Okay, so here we're not really talking about getting a better job, right?
Okay, yeah, not like a job promotion.
No, we're talking about a marketing strategy.
Okay, so I can give you an example. Suppose that I want to buy shampoo.
Uh-huh.
And if I go to the supermarket and I see buy one and get one free.
So that's a 2-for-1.
That's a 2-for-1 promotion.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
That's a sales promotion. Or
perhaps the shampoo in the supermarket is less expensive than usual.
Okay.
Usually maybe it costs $5, but today it costs $4. That's a sales promotion.
Great. So that's a really good marketing strategy.
Exactly. And we'll hear this word in our dialogue today.
Great. So we are ready to listen to our dialogue. It's going to be pretty fast, so it might be a little bit difficult to understand.
But don't worry if you don't understand everything, because later in this lesson, we're going to explain all the important words and phrases.
All right, people, we're holding this meeting today because we've got to do something about our sales, and we need to do it now. I want concrete solutions. How do you plan to drive sales? Roger.
Well, in fact, we're the most expensive in the market, so maybe we need to lower our prices to match the competitors?
Lower our prices. Not very creative. It'll never fly with Swan. What kind of thinking is that? Jeez. Anyone have a better plan? Natalie.
Perhaps a promotion. Maybe a 2-for-1 offer or something like that.
What? That's the same thing. Bad idea. Really bad idea. Damn it, people, come on. Think. The CEO will be here any minute.
Hello, Mr. Swan.
Oh, Mr. Swan.
Hello, Mr. Swan.
Do we have any ideas yet?
Yes, Mr. Swan. We were kind of considering a 2-for-1 offer to get more competitive.
A 2-for-1 promotion. I kind of like the sound of that. It sounds like something we should consider.
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I was thinking. In fact, it's a brilliant idea. I'm glad we thought of that. Very creative.
Okay, so an interesting manager, right?
I don't know about interesting. Maybe I would think bad manager.
We're going to talk about him later on in the show. But now let's take a look at our language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so language takeaway is the part of our lesson where we teach you the most important words from the dialogue. All these words that we are going to focus on can be found in today's dialogue.
Exactly. So we have 3 words for you today. Let's look at the first one. Match the competitors.
Match the competitors.
Match the competitors.
Match the competitors.
Great. So we have some examples for you so you can listen and try and see if you can figure out what match the competitors really means.
Example 1. We guarantee that we can match the competitor's lowest price. Example 2.
It's impossible for us to match the competitors. Our costs are just too high.
Example 3. Do you think we can match our competitors' prices and still keep our quality high?
Okay, so I see that match the competitors means to be as good as or better than other companies in the same industry.
Exactly. Match the competitors.
All right, so let's move to our second word today for language takeaways, and it is in the market.
In the market.
In the market.
In the market.
We heard this phrase in the dialogue, and it means in the industry.
Exactly. I can say, for example, English Pod is the best language pod in the market.
So, of all the podcasts that teach English, English Pod is the best.
Of course, no doubt about it.
I totally agree.
Right. Or I can give you another example. iPods are the most popular MP3 players in the market.
So, of all the MP3 players in the world, iPods are the most popular. So let's move to our final word for today, and it is...
It'll never fly.
It'll never fly.
It'll never fly.
It will never fly.
So this phrase sounds a little bit strange.
I know, fly? Are we talking about an airplane here? What's going on?
Exactly, but we're not. So we're going to give you some examples and try and guess what it'll never fly really means.
Example 1. This marketing plan will never fly. It's just too expensive. Example 2.
What? You want to sell bikinis in Alaska? That'll never fly.
Example 3. Brad told me his idea for a film script, but the story will never fly. It's not interesting enough.
So it means it won't work.
It won't work. It's not a good idea.
They'll never agree.
Exactly. Great. So now we've seen a lot of useful phrases and we are ready to listen to our dialogue a second time. But this time it's going to be slow.
So you'll be able to understand a little bit better and you'll be able to hear the words and phrases we were just talking about.
All right, people. We're holding this meeting today because we've got to do something about our sales. And we need to do it now. I want concrete solutions. How do you plan to drive sales, Roger?
Well, in fact, we're the most expensive in the market. So maybe we need to lower our prices to match the competitors.
Lower our prices. Not very creative. It'll never fly with Swan. What kind of thinking is that? Geez. Anybody else have a better plan? Natalie?
Perhaps, a promotion. Maybe a 2-for-1 offer or something like that.
What? That's the same thing. Bad idea. Really bad idea. Damn it, people, come on. Think. The CEO will be here any minute.
Hello, Mr. Swan.
Oh, Mr. Swan.
Hello, Mr. Swan.
Do we have any ideas yet?
Yes, Mr. Swan. We were kind of considering a 2-for-1 offer to get more competitive.
A 2-for-1 promotion. I kind of like the sound of that. It sounds like something we should consider.
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I was thinking. In fact, that's a brilliant idea. I'm glad we thought of that. Very creative.
Okay, great. I hope everyone understands a lot better now.
And I hope everyone could listen out for some of those key words.
Right, so now it's time for us to take a look at Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
So with Fluency Builder, we try to help you increase your fluency. We take a word or phrase that you already know and show you how to say it a little bit more naturally, a little bit more like a native English speaker.
Right, and we have 3 of these words for you today.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first one. Okay, so often students will say something like,
I'll be here soon.
or...
I will arrive soon.
Right, and these sentences are correct.
They're totally fine, but I think there's a better way to say this.
Right, and we heard it in the dialogue, so let's listen to what the person in the dialogue said.
The CEO will be here any minute. The CEO will be here any minute.
Okay, so be here any minute. He'll be here any minute. It just sounds a little bit more natural.
Yeah, I think I use this phrase quite often. He'll be here any minute.
He'll be here soon.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so let's move on to our second phrase for Fluency Builder.
So this phrase will help you to learn how to say, I'm thinking about something in a better sounding way.
Right, so you can say something like, we are thinking about a sales strategy.
Or, that sounds like something we should think about.
Right, and it's perfectly correct.
Yeah, there's no problem with this.
But in the dialogue, we heard something a little bit different, so let's listen to it.
It sounds like something we should consider. It sounds like something we should consider.
So consider sounds like a pretty natural way of saying it, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I think it sounds really kind of smart.
Yeah, it sounds more formal even.
A little
at
more
times.
professional.
Yeah. It's a good word.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So let's move on to our third word.
Marco, you already said our third word.
Oh, yeah, I actually did. Brilliant. That's a great word right there.
Yeah. A lot of people might say, that's a great idea, or great. But in the dialogue, we heard another way of saying the same idea.
That's a brilliant idea. That's a brilliant idea.
Okay, so this is great, but I would have to say that it's a little bit more British English.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, but I also think it sort of gives more power to this idea that it's a good idea, brilliant idea.
That it's a really, really good idea.
Yeah.
I like that word.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're ready to listen to our dialogue again a third time, but at its normal speed.
All right, people, we're holding this meeting today because we've got to do something about our sales, and we need to do it now. I want concrete solutions. How do you plan to drive sales? Roger.
Well, in fact, we're the most expensive in the market, so maybe we need to lower our prices to match the competitors?
Lower our prices. Not very creative. It'll never fly with Swan. What kind of thinking is that? Jeez. Anyone have a better plan? Natalie.
Perhaps a promotion. Maybe a 2-for-1 offer or something like that.
What? It's the same thing. Bad idea. Really bad idea. Damn it, people, come on. Think. The CEO will be here any minute.
Hello, Mr. Swan.
Oh, Mr. Swan.
Hello, Mr. Swan.
Do we have any ideas yet?
Yes, Mr. Swan, we were kind of considering a 2-for-1 offer to get more competitive.
A 2-for-1 promotion. I kind of like the sound of that. It sounds like something we should consider.
Yeah, exactly. That's just what I was thinking. In fact, it's a brilliant idea. I'm glad we thought of that. Very creative.
All right, so listening to this dialogue makes you think about this boss. I'm pretty sure everyone has had a manager or a supervisor that's similar to this guy.
Yeah, this boss, Clark, I would have to say he sounds like a terrible person to work for.
Yeah, that's true. If you're a manager, you want to motivate your employees.
I think it's the most important thing a manager does is to encourage his or her employees and to help support them to grow and to be better people in the job. And this guy is totally not doing this.
And you can tell because they are a little bit scared of talking, and he cuts them off with saying, oh, it's a bad idea, give me a better idea, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I could never work for a guy like this. You know, my first boss that I had when I first entered the workforce, workforce. I was in a very junior position and I was working for a large company, and the general manager of the company, he was amazing. He was so encouraging. He knew every single employee's name, first name, and he would, make an effort to stop and say hello and ask them how things were going. And you know what? This left me with such a good feeling about the company that I really wanted to work hard for this company and try my best. And I think that I've never met such a great boss as this guy.
No, I think that's true. Definitely, if you have a boss that's encouraging and motivating like that, it makes you work harder and makes you feel part of a really special team. And that's something we can all agree on, and I'm sure all our managers out there do the same. Well, you know what? I hope some of our listeners log on to our website and maybe they can tell us some experiences with bad managers or good managers, or if they are managers, how they handle things.
Yeah, and hopefully they can use some of these great phrases that we talked about today.
Hello, and welcome, English learners. In this episode, we're going into the exciting world of business and sales. Don't worry if you're not a salesperson. This lesson is packed with smart, real-life English expressions that people use in meetings, offices, and team discussions. These phrases will help you sound confident, natural, and professional in any workplace. Let's begin with one of the most useful expressions in business English: drive sales. This means to increase the number of products or services your company sells. It's a powerful phrase used when people want results. You might hear, "How can we drive sales this month?" Or, "We need a strategy to drive sales before the holidays." It's clear, goal-focused, and very common in marketing and sales teams. Another great term is promotion. Now, in business, this doesn't always mean getting a better job. It can also mean a sales promotion, a special deal that helps a product sell faster. For example, you might offer a 2-for-1 promotion, where the customer gets 2 products for the price of 1. This type of deal is simple, smart, and widely used by companies to attract more customers. During a business meeting, someone might say, "We need concrete solutions." This phrase means they want real, clear, specific ideas, not just talk. You can use it in many situations. "We need a concrete plan," or "Let's focus on concrete results." It shows that you're serious and ready to act. And then comes the funny but very useful phrase, "It'll never fly." No, it's not about airplanes. In business English, this means that idea won't work. It's a polite, informal way to say a suggestion is not good enough. You can say, "That plan will never fly with the boss," or "selling bikinis in winter. That'll never fly." Already, you've learned a few strong phrases like drive sales, promotion, concrete solutions, and "it'll never fly," all common in everyday business English. Whether you're in a meeting, writing an email, or sharing an idea, these phrases will help you sound sharp, clear, and confident. In the fast-paced world of business, people don't just talk. They use specific, powerful language to get things done. One useful expression you'll often hear is cut costs. This means to reduce how much money is being spent. In a company meeting, someone might say, "We need to cut costs this quarter," or "How can we cut costs without hurting sales?" It's a simple phrase, but it's a big part of business decisions. Then there's the phrase boost profits. While cutting costs focuses on spending less, boosting profits means making more money. You'll hear things like, "Our goal is to boost profits by the end of the year," or "What can we do to boost profits without raising prices?" These two phrases, cut costs and boost profits, are often used together in business strategies. Another helpful term is target audience. This is the group of people your product or service is made for. If you're selling sports shoes, your target audience might be athletes or young people. If you're promoting coffee, your target audience could be busy workers or students. You might hear, "We need to understand our target audience better," or "Let's create ads that speak to our target audience." Also mentioned in the podcast is a popular business idea, the 2-for-1 promotion. This is a smart deal where the customer gets 2 items for the price of 1. It's often used to drive sales quickly. You can say, "Let's launch a 2-for-1 promotion next weekend," or "This offer is part of our holiday campaign." When someone disagrees with a plan in a business setting, they might say something like, "That'll never fly." It's an easy way to say, "This idea won't work." It's not rude, it's casual but clear. You can also say, "I don't think this will fly with a team," or "It might fly in one market, but not in another." Using phrases like cut costs, boost profits, target audience, and 2-for-1 promotion helps you speak like someone who understands how business works. It shows that you're not just learning English, you're learning how to use it with purpose. One of the most important parts of business English is learning how to speak clearly and confidently during meetings. In this part of the lesson, we explore phrases that help you share ideas, respond to suggestions, and stay professional even when you disagree. Let's start with a powerful phrase. We need a fresh approach. In English, this means the current way isn't working, so it's time to try something new. You might hear it in meetings when things aren't going well. For example, sales are down, we need a fresh approach, or let's brainstorm a fresh approach to reach our customers. Speaking of brainstorming, another common phrase is let's think outside the box. This means to be creative, to come up with new and different ideas. You'll often hear, if we want to stand out, we need to think outside the box, or no idea is too crazy, just think outside the box. It's a friendly way to encourage open thinking. Now, sometimes people don't agree with an idea. A soft and polite way to say this is, "I'm not sure that'll work." This phrase is better than saying, "That's a bad idea." It's polite, respectful, and still clear. You can also say, "It sounds interesting, but I'm not sure it'll work in this market," or "I'm not sure that'll work with our budget." Then comes the idea of trial and error. This phrase means trying different things until something works. In business, not every plan is perfect the first time. So people say things like, "We'll figure it out through trial and error," or "It's a process of trial and error." It's a helpful phrase for showing patience and learning from mistakes. And don't forget one more useful term, long-term strategy. While some actions help you right away, others are for the future. A long-term strategy is a plan that helps your business grow over time. You might say, "This is part of our long-term strategy," or "We need to think long-term, not just short-term." So with expressions like fresh approach, think outside the box, "I'm not sure that'll work," trial and error, and long-term strategy, you're learning how to sound thoughtful, creative, and professional in any business conversation. In business, good communication isn't just about sharing ideas, it's also about knowing how to respond when things don't go as planned. This part of the lesson focuses on how to stay professional, flexible, and clear when handling objections or challenges. One useful phrase is, "That's a fair point." It's what you say when someone makes a good observation, even if it's different from your opinion. It shows that you're listening and respecting their input. You can say, "That's a fair point, but let's also look at the bigger picture," or "I see your point and you're right. That part needs work." Sometimes, a team tries something that doesn't work well. In that case, you might hear, "Let's learn from this." This is a positive, forward-thinking way to deal with mistakes. It doesn't blame anyone. It just says, "We tried. Now, let's improve." You might hear, "The campaign didn't work, but let's learn from it," or "Let's take what we learned and do better next time." Another phrase that often comes up is tight budget. When a company or project has very little money to spend, we say the budget is tight. For example, "We're working with a tight budget this quarter," or "We can't do that right now, we're on a tight budget." It's a polite way to say we can't afford it. And when people talk about problems, they also look for cost-effective solutions. This means something that works well without costing too much. You can say, "We need a more cost-effective option," or "This solution is effective and affordable, it's cost-effective." It's a great phrase when you want to show that you care about value. Another natural and important expression is move forward. It's a way to say, "Let's continue," or "Let's take the next step." In meetings, you might hear, "Let's move forward with a plan," or "We've discussed the problem. Now, let's move forward." With these expressions, "That's a fair point," "Let's learn from this," "Tight budget," cost effective, and move forward. You're building the kind of language that helps you work better with others and speak with confidence in business. As we continue exploring the language of sales and business, it's time to focus on how English speakers talk about customers, trends, and results. These words and phrases help you sound knowledgeable, focused, and ready to make things happen. One key phrase you'll often hear is meet the customer's needs. In business, success often means understanding what people want and giving it to them. You might hear, we need to improve our service to meet the customer's needs, or this new product meets a specific need in the market. This phrase shows that you care about value and satisfaction. Another useful expression is keep up with trends. In fast-moving markets, things change quickly. If your company can't adapt, it falls behind. That's why English speakers say things like, we need to keep up with trends, or it's important to keep up with what's happening in the industry. You can use this phrase for fashion, technology, or any area where change happens often. Next is the idea of track results. In business, actions must lead to results. You can't just guess, you need proof. So people say, let's track the results of this campaign, or we need to track performance over the next few weeks. This phrase is simple but powerful. It shows you're focused on outcomes, not just ideas. A closely related term is measure success. When a project is finished, people want to know, did it work? Was it worth it? You'll often hear, how do we measure success? Or let's define clear goals so we can measure success later. This is about setting standards and checking progress. Then there's the phrase gain market share. This means getting more customers than your competitors. It's a key goal in sales. You might hear, our new strategy is helping us gain market share, or we need to launch something new if we want to gain market share this year. With expressions like meet the customer's needs, keep up with trends, track results, measure success, and gain market share, you can speak clearly and effectively in any business situation. These are the kinds of phrases that show leadership, teamwork, and professional focus. In business, communication isn't just about sharing your ideas. It's also about knowing how to respond to pressure, solve problems, and make thoughtful decisions. In this part, you'll learn English phrases that help you stay calm, focused, and persuasive in real business situations. One great expression is under pressure. This means you're dealing with stress, deadlines, or high expectations. You might hear, the team performed well under pressure, or I work better under pressure. It's a natural way to describe how someone manages stress in a professional environment. Then there's make or break. This phrase is used when something is very important and can lead to big success or failure. For example, this deal is make or break for the company, or it's a make or break moment in the campaign. It shows that something matters a lot and people are watching the results. Another common term is tight deadline. When there's not much time to finish a task, we say the deadline is tight. We're working with a tight deadline, or can you handle this tight deadline? It's a phrase used often in project meetings and team discussions. And when you want to talk about solving a problem in a smart way, you can use the phrase find a workaround. A workaround is a temporary solution that helps you move forward, even if it's not perfect. We couldn't fix the bug, but we found a workaround, or let's try a workaround while we wait for the full update. One more helpful phrase is get buy-in. In business, this means getting people to support your idea or plan. You might say, we need to get buy-in from the team before moving forward, or if we want this to work, we'll need leadership buy-in. It's a key expression for teamwork and leadership. With phrases like under pressure, make or break, tight deadline, find a workaround, and get buy-in, you're learning how to talk like a true professional, someone who can handle stress, guide teams, and find real solutions. As we go deeper into business English, it's time to focus on how to talk about teamwork, planning, and making progress. These are important parts of any workplace, and knowing how to express them in simple, clear English can help you become a better communicator in meetings and discussions. Let's begin with the phrase, stay on track. This means to follow your plan and keep things moving in the right direction. You might hear, let's stay on track with our timeline, or we got distracted. We need to stay on track. It's great for project planning, meetings, or goal setting. A related phrase is ahead of schedule. This means you're finishing your work earlier than expected. It's something every team wants to hear. We're ahead of schedule, or thanks to the new system, we're a week ahead of schedule. It shows good organization and strong effort. Another key term is team player. In business, being a team player means you work well with others and support your coworkers. You can say, we're looking for someone who's a real team player, or she's a strong leader and a great team player. It's a high compliment in any workplace. Sometimes projects need a lot of communication. That's when we hear phrases like, keep everyone in the loop. This means to keep people informed about what's going on. Let's keep the client in the loop, or I'll email updates to keep everyone in the loop. It's a friendly, professional way to talk about communication and trust. And finally, when a project is finished and things go well, people say, we pulled it off. This means we succeeded, even though it was difficult. You might hear, it was a lot of work, but we pulled it off, or I didn't think we'd make the deadline, but we pulled it off in the end. It's a confident, casual way to celebrate success. These phrases stay on track, ahead of schedule, team player, keep in the loop, and pull it off. Bring your business English to life. They help you talk about teamwork, planning, and results in a natural and motivating way. You've now built a full toolbox of real, powerful English expressions for the business world. From talking about strategy and teamwork to handling deadlines and communication, you've learned how professionals speak clearly and confidently in meetings, emails, and day-to-day conversations. Let's bring it all together. Imagine you're in a meeting. You might say, we need a fresh approach if we want to drive sales and gain market share. Someone responds, but we're on a tight budget. Then you offer a solution. Let's find a workaround and track results through trial and error. That's not just English. It's effective, modern, and professional English. You've also learned to describe people and teamwork. You can now say, she's a team player who always helps us stay on track. Or, thanks to good planning, we're ahead of schedule. And when the job is done, you can smile and say, we pulled it off. In business, it's not only what you say, it's how you say it. Using phrases like get buy-in, keep everyone in the loop, and meet the customer's needs shows that you understand how teams work, how goals are set, and how results are measured. You also know how to keep things polite but clear. When a plan isn't perfect, you can say, that's a fair point, or I'm not sure that'll work. These small phrases help you disagree respectfully and keep the conversation moving forward. Now you can speak about problems, plans, results, and teamwork with words that are used every day in real companies around the world. You sound natural, prepared, and confident.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. A real or specific solution to a problem.
Concrete solutions.
Increase sales.
Drive sales.
In the industry.
In the market.
Be as good as or better than other companies in the same industry.
To match the competitors.
Will not work. Will not be approved.
Will never fly.
Something done to make people aware of a product.
Promotion.
Will arrive very soon.
Be here any minute.
Thinking about.
To consider.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
As good as or better than others of the same type.
Competitive.
Make sales successfully.
Win sales.
Plans for a company's sales activities.
Sales strategy.
The process a customer goes through when deciding to buy a product.
Sales cycle.
To sell more than others.
To outsell.
When a customer buys the same brand over and over.
Customer loyalty.
Let's try that faster. Excellent.
Brilliant.
Will arrive very soon.
Be here any minute.
To sell more than others.
To outsell.
Will not work. Will not be approved.
Will never fly.
The process a customer goes through when deciding to buy a product.
Sales cycle.
Something done to make people aware of a product.
Promotion.
In the industry.
In the market.
Increase sales.
Drive sales.
Be as good as or better than other companies in the same industry.
To match the competitors.
As good as or better than others of the same type.
Competitive.
Make sales successfully.
Win sales.
Plans for a company's sales activities.
Sales strategy.
When a customer buys the same brand over and over.
Customer loyalty.
Thinking about.
To consider.
A real or specific solution to a problem.
Concrete solutions.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Drive sales. If we want to drive sales, I think we need to spend more time training our salespeople. Drive sales. The most important thing for us right now is to focus on driving sales. Drive sales. I think if we increase our marketing budget, it will help us to drive sales in the fourth quarter. I expect each of you to come to the meeting tomorrow with concrete solutions for our recruitment problem. Dale, have you come up with any concrete solutions? I'm sorry, but I just can't offer any concrete solutions right now. Promotion. We can't have a sales promotion right now because our costs are too high. Promotion. The department store is offering a promotion. Everything is 50% off. Let's go shopping. Promotion. A 2-for-1 promotion might be a way to attract new customers. We guarantee that we can match the competitor's lowest price. It's impossible for us to match the competitors. Our costs are just too high. Do you think we can match the competitor's quality and still keep our price low? In the market. English Pod is the best podcast in the market. In the market. iPods are the most popular MP3 players in the market. In the market. Our product is the cheapest in the market. Will never fly. This marketing plan will never fly. We just don't have enough money for it. Will never fly. I like that idea, but it'll never fly with management. Will never fly. Brad told me his idea for a film script, but the story will never fly. It's not interesting enough. Be here any minute. Hurry up. The bus will be here any minute. Be here any minute. Nick just called. He said he should be here any minute. Be here any minute. Is everything prepared for the meeting? The CEO will be here any minute. To consider. We're considering a sales promotion. To consider. I think we need to consider a new sales strategy. To consider. Have you considered reducing the price? Brilliant. That's a brilliant idea. Brilliant. This is a brilliant marketing plan. Brilliant. What a brilliant suggestion. Thanks, Roger.